Hi guys, a lot of people have been asking about how I made this stem. I've tried making stems many a time in the past, and this is what I finally ended up with. So yeah, I thought I'd do a video and request one or two and give you a rough idea. Obviously you're going to need your usual resins. In this case I'm using polurethane, and as with this pipe stem, I'm going to be using the blue dye. Obviously you're going to need a mixing vessel, something to stir it with. I'll just use an old piece of stick that's kicking around somewhere. Some PVC tubing. This one's 20mm, but you can use whatever size you think is going to fit your pipe. I use an old piece of latex glove, just a piece I've cut off of a latex surgical glove, and a shaved down cork, a wine bottle cork. Just drape that over there, wedge that in there nice and tight, and then I sit that in a block like that, and I always have at least a couple of three lined up, just ready and wait, and that way if you've got some surplus resin you're not going to waste it. It starts going towards your next one. So yeah, that's basically long and short. With this resin, like I say, it's polyurethane, so it's 1-to-1 ratio. That's in weight, not in quantity. And then the dye I just sort of eyeball in. But I put the resin, I mix the resin first, and then I just add a little bit of dye just to give it a little bit of marbleisation, and then that way once you pour it in, it will actually stir itself up a little bit more, which will give it even more marbleisation. So you never know what the outcome's actually going to be until such a time as you demould it. But luckily this one, I think it's only about an hour's total cure time. So hopefully before I finish for today, we'll be able to come back and have a look at one demoulded. But I'm just going to eyeball mix it, and I'll probably do the high speed dubbing on this section so you don't get too bored. Okay, I actually ended up leaving this overnight. I got carried away with something else while I was waiting for these to cure, so I'll just stick them two to one side for now. For the actual demoulding, it's dead simple. All I normally do is, as you can see, that's where the latex glove was, and I find that if I just use a piece of old cut off dowel, in this case it was an old bird perch, stand it over something fairly flat and solid, and give it a knock. It should, there we go, normally just pop out. As you can see, leaving that clean, ready for another day. Great stuff, the PVC. Okay, so that's the result we've got so far. Nothing much to look at the moment, but you never know what's buried on the inside, which is a bit I always like. So what I'm going to do is move all this stuff, and we'll get this up in the chuck, and then we'll start to get it processed for drilling the holes down through, and that's about all we actually need the machine for. And after that we get on to shaping and everything else. So I'll be right back. Okay, right, I've now got it in my chuck with my pin jaws, and I've put my Forstner bit in my Jacobs chuck on my tailstock. The reason why I use a Forstner is, number one, with the point on the Forstner, it gives you a centre point for the next part of the drilling, and number two, it cleans up all these old manky rough edges around the outside there. So we'll power it up and make a start, and we'll just see how it all goes. As you can see, that cleans that up quite nicely. So the next thing I want to do now is change from the Forstner bit and I'm going to make a 10mm tenon on this, which is standard size for stems that I make myself on the pipes that I make myself. And to do that, I'll just use a hole drill. Nothing fancy, got it off eBay, cost me about, I don't know, €1.50 or something, I can't remember. Carbide again, I like them because they give you a nice clean cut. So just get that put into the chuck. I don't exactly have any set depth. Well, I do this too, but I do like to just keep an idea. And to do that, I just use my calipers, the little stick bit on the end, and that comes in at 9.4. So yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, one of the few parts of this that does actually take any tool work, and what I do with my tool rests, there. The tool I'm going to use is just a homemade carbide. It's nothing, I just made it up. I just have one side. Yeah. That'll do that bit for the minute. Now, next, change the drill bit again. This time I use a 3mm, very long one, and it's way longer than I need, but that's where the fun part comes in, because what I'll do now is just measure what depth that is. Let's get a little bit of masking tape first. Right, and I'll measure right the way to the end of the tenon as well. The reason for the masking tape just makes life a little easier in the short bit when we turn the whole caboodle around and drill the other end. And everything doesn't always look as though it's coming out square or round, as the case may be. No, that's fine. Good. Okay. Right. Dispense with that drill bit for now. Now the fun part. Turn it around and hopefully keep it in line. So I normally just try and literally take it out. Let's put it back around. One thing. Just give that a quick spin, see if it's central. No, it's not. That's not too bad. Right, back to portion a bit. This time I'm using a 1.5mm, very thin I know, but it seems to help with the draw of the smoke when you're using it. And start off with, you feel the resistance on the actual polyurethane, but once you get through to the other hole, it suddenly becomes easy, so you know that you're through. And that's the drilling part. before I actually take that off, I'm just going to double check. Yep. So far so good. So the next thing is I'm going to draw a line right through the centre where the hole is. And the reason why I use a thick marker is because I found it actually helps when I'm working on the sides to work out exactly where the hole theoretically should be. So I'll do that now, and then I'll basically do the same again on the other side. And again, the reason for the thick marker is because as near as damn it should be about the thickness of the hole. This is always the fun bit. There. By holding that flat against there, and that up through that. Same again. Flat, flat. And that looks about right. Get off quick. Right. So there's a guideline for me. A bit of a smudge. Oh, gives me a rough guideline now of how far down I can take away, and obviously bearing in mind that all that between my fingers down to that line almost is waste material. Oh well, as I say in France, c'est la vie. Okay, now for the next bit I use my wannabe Dremel tool, and for that I just need to mark out my maximum limit here, my maximum limit there. Easy way around that is good old fashioned masking tape. Nothing's ever fancy with me. Get the damn stuff off. I leave myself a little bit of extra. I always take it off later, it's not so easy to add it back on. basically take away most of this material up here and down here, which should give me a nice thin but still usable piece that I can actually turn into a pipe stem. Right, for a minute I'm going to go make a cup of tea. Tea break over, back to work. Okay, as I said, I use my wannabe Dremel tool. It's just a cheap one I picked up at a local supermarket on reduced, and some of these little mini drum sanders which you can pick up. I think I picked up something like 100 for €2 or something off the internet. It's very cheap, nothing highfalutin or anything like that. And then basically I'm just going to use this to quickly just hog out the most of the material that I don't need before I get in with the files and the likes of. So there goes. Now I will add as well at this point, what I'm also looking to do is keep these two lines here as parallel as possible, but at the same time the distance between that line and the top, that line and the top, as even as possible, just for now, and then we'll shape it up later on with sandpaper. Right. You may have noticed as well, I've now started to narrow it just marginally more at this end than at that end, and the reason for that is because then I've got more strength down near the bowl of the pipe, and I would also advise wearing respiratory gear, as this stuff does fly everywhere. So to the other side and continue. Right, that's about as far as I'm going to go now with power tools. Now it's into manual files. I'll just get some of this dust. Right, next, hand files. It's all I use. Well, it's not all I use, but it's nothing fancy. You can pick one up any DIY store, and this is the reason why I've not touched the two ends, because it helps me keep it nice and even, which is handy. So I just start giving it a slight chamfer. Now one of the things as well with these files is you'll have a dead edge and a live edge. Live edge obviously can cut, so we don't point that towards the ends at all. We always use the dead edge. We don't get any extra digs, and we basically just work it. And all I'm actually doing at the moment is just trying to bring it down by hand now to the line. It's just a starting point. Now this is where my piece of masking tape comes in quite handy, although I've gone slightly over there, but that shouldn't really matter by too much. And what I now do is just come in with the live edge Okay, that's not too bad. Thickness again. Still a bit too much. So far, so good. Okay. No need for that anymore. Treat that like that. Okay, my usual thing for bending is basically to just take a pipe cleaner, wedge it down in the hole. That just ensures that the airway stays open once you actually start to bend it. A glove, because these things do get rather warm, and my blowtorch. Now what I'm aiming to do on this is just heat it, so I don't need it all the way down here where the flames are. I need it way up here in the heat, and just keep rotating it round until it warms up. Doesn't take very long, but if you get it too close to the heat, you'll burn it before you know it, and that's it, ruined. And now it's starting to just try and curl a little on its own, so now I can just put a bend in it, take it away from the heat, let it cool. and one pipe stem ready for polishing. I'll take it to the polisher and I'll post pics after.